Welcome back to some more interesting questions. And this is what we do right here on this show. We question everything, everything possible, everything you could believe of, and everything you can't believe. We will question it. That is the purpose of this show. But thank you guys for joining me. I really appreciate the company. And as like I always say, I watch these videos with you guys. And I get my opinions, I get my commentary on them. And I would love for you guys to leave your comments below. Leave your opinions. Give me comments. Like, post them down below. And, so we can experience this together. This next video is, how do you say, kind of paranormal in a way. It's a bit of a paranormal video. And how it's paranormal is it's about supposedly that there is a portal from the Grand Canyon to Africa. And supposedly there were ancient Egyptian artifacts found in the Grand Canyon. There was also like ancient Asian artifacts that were found in the Grand Canyon. And I actually have a video on this. I've done a video on this before. So go ahead and check out my content, find that video. And I think it's labeled Ancient Egypt in the Grand Canyon. But this video is talking about that there is a potential portal. And I even say in that video how I was going to do a video on this supposed portal and how it translates ancient Egypt to the Grand Canyon. And how this is actually possible. So, if you like this video, hit that like button, hit the bell icon to get notifications if you enjoy content like this. Because these are the most intriguing things that I have seen in my lifetime that have happened all around the world. Events, archaeology, paranormal events, so on and so forth. And subscribe to the channel and share the video. So without further ado, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna get over to this video right now, and we'll check it out together.
Over the years, it seems the US has become the go-to place for ET ideas. So much of the UFO legend traces back here, while so many of today's sci-fi tropes were born in Hollywood. But according to one theory at least, the surest sign of an alien presence has actually been missed by most people, and it lurks at the very heart of one of the world's most iconic locations. This is Unveiled, and today we're answering the extraordinary question, is there an alien portal?
Oh yeah, shout out to Unveiled for making this video and letting me, for me to do commentary on. Shout out to them. Check out their content. I appreciate all the content creators on YouTube that create these types of things, so I can give my opinions on them. And then you can put comments below and you can give your opinions on them. But shout out to Unveiled. I appreciate the video.
Portal in the Grand Canyon.
Do you need the big questions answered? Are you constantly curious? Then why not subscribe to Unveiled for more clips like this one? And ring the bell for more thought-provoking content.
Hit the bell icon. Do it here,
Imagine,
do it
if
there.
you can, that you're an extraterrestrial being, a life form from another distant planet, but one with a keen interest in what happens here on Earth. How would you choose to monitor this world? You could watch from a distance through some kind of ultra-powered telescope lens. You could mount a ruthless invasion and just force earthly life to comply. Or you could subtly move in so that nobody notices via a well-hidden gateway placed here on the ground. That third one certainly has its perks, and it's what some believe really is happening at a mysterious point, or even multiple mysterious points, in the Grand Canyon. In October 2022, there emerged a brief flurry of news reports relating to an alleged discovery made by one Wayne Wells via Google Earth. According to those reports, this user may have stumbled across an alien doorway in the heart of the Grand Canyon, an incongruous formation seemingly carved into the surrounding desert. Not everyone was convinced, though, with skeptics labeling the dark rectangular mark as more likely an old and abandoned mine shaft, and the story never really took off, even in ufology circles. It certainly never gained the traction that the Doorway on Mars story did earlier that same year. However, this isn't the first time that such alien claims have been made in relation to the area. Probably the most infamous Grand Canyon alien portal encounter story focuses on one Hank Crastman. Crastman was a student in the early 1960s when he befriended another student named Kopavi, a member of the Native American group, the Hopi, who live in and around the canyon. According to Crastman's accounts, Kopavi...
Sorry, I was kind of zoning out in the video, so it just seemed very intriguing. Was it in a mine shaft? Because I've also seen videos where there's like these structures of like doorways, like huge giant doorways around the world. They're also in Baalbek, where there's these giant pillars they say that the Romans built, but people believe that they may be pre-flood, which is a very good possibility. But I remember in that Baalbek video that I did on here, check out that Baalbek video that I did, someone does kind of a walkthrough, and there's these giant doorways, huge giant doorways, where it's like not for human beings like of like our stature, like 5'8" to like 6'5" or something. Like let's say 5'8", 6'5" man. These are like giant doorways where like there may have been giant people on the planet. But like that mine shaft looked pretty big. And I'm not saying it's an actual portal to Africa. I'm saying it's possible because there are theories about a portal in the Grand Canyon that somehow leads to Africa. I've actually heard about portals on Earth that actually lead, like a Stargate type thing, that leads to Mars. And I remember Jesse Ventura's, I can't remember the name of the show off the top of my head, but he did a conspiracy theory. He did that show, Conspiracy Theory, and this guy said that there are portals here on Earth. And he said he was part of like this Mars program, where he actually, and he says in there that Barack Obama was also a part of this program. That's what he says in the show, people. The show is called Conspiracy Theory, and he says that he was part of this, where they had young people who were transversing to different planets, and that he said that there was already a Mars colony, and he said he had already been there, and he said that he actually worked with Barack Obama when Barack Obama was a young man or a teenager or whatever. If you can find the show, look it up. But that's what the guy's proclaiming in the show. So this is kind of similar to, something along those lines.
He once led him deep into the wilderness to reveal the spectacular truth. Crastman says that he was blindfolded by Kopavi and led on a long journey via horseback until the blindfold was removed, and Crastman found that the pair were facing a vast and apparently solid rock face. However, when Crastman placed his hand onto the rock, it actually went through what was there. Crastman suggests that the hidden location was actually a portal or vortex of some kind then, between Earth and another dimension. Walking through the portal, Crastman was allegedly led through a series of chambers until the world opened up and an entire city spread out before him. An apparently ultra-advanced metropolis with unfamiliar technology. It was as if it were all cloaked by the rocky enormity of the Grand Canyon. It proved to be the one and only time that Crastman visited this place, despite various attempts made by him in the following years to relocate it. As the claimed portal has never been found by anyone else either, his story has again been widely met with skepticism, but Crastman maintained it until his death in 2010. Elsewhere, and while the U.S. government lists the canyon as the second most visited national park in America, There have been many supposed UFOs seen and sometimes allegedly photographed in and around the region. This is perhaps unsurprising, given that the canyon cuts through the very heart of UFO country.
Well, you know, the aliens want to put their stuff on display. You know what I'm saying? They want to put it out there. You know, you got a Ferrari or, you know, a Lamborghini. You know, you want to drive it down Main Street. You know, I mean, that's what the aliens want to do. They want to drive it down Main Street.
In the States. The famed Area 51 is around 240 miles northwest. The state of California borders Arizona, with more UFOs reported there than anywhere else in the country. And by some measures, the southeastern point of the so-called Nevada Triangle, a purported region of unexplained aircraft disappearances, begins inside the canyon itself. Take a short journey just a little further east, and you reach Dulce Base, too, the primary setting for another alien conspiracy. The small town of Dulce just falls into the state of New Mexico, along the border with Colorado, and suggestions of an alien base built beneath it first emerged in the 1960s and 70s. It's said by those who live there and by outsiders looking in that there exists a multi-story, miles-deep facility stretching far below the surface, where humans and aliens interact, a kind of joint venture.
Yeah, I heard about that. Like, there's subterranean chambers underneath the Grand Canyon. And I think it was like UFO hunters or something that I was watching, and they were like talking about it. And they're like Native American people have said, like, people have ventured into these caverns and they were like never seen again. They're like, you know, I don't know if it's legend. It could be like, you know, folklore among tribes to tell young people like, oh, don't venture in there. Well, because I mean, there could be wild animals or whatever, you know, that might be why these people disappeared. But supposedly, like they, like, you know, in that episode of UFO hunters, you know, this guy was totally completely convinced. He's like, no, there's like military bases and stuff underneath here. Like, he was telling the guy, like, no, there's military action. There's things going on underneath here that, you know, it's not extraterrestrial. There's military bases underneath here.
Venture Research Hub. The allegations rarely go so far as to explain what actually happens there, but Dulce has become an intriguing center for UFO enthusiasts anyway. In previous decades, there have been reports of bizarrely mutilated cattle found there, as well as claimed evidence of unusual gases and chemicals. Otherwise, the Dulce base remains totally unproven, but the rumors of a cover-up have never gone away. Head back into Arizona, though, through which the Grand Canyon cuts its course. And you might also stop at the city of Sedona, another place of interest, as another alleged host for many metaphysical portals. This time, there's less of an alien emphasis and more on general spiritual well-being. In recent times, Sedona has become a popular place for meditation and alternative healing practices. It's said that vortices can be found here all over, but at some specific points in particular, including Airport Mesa and...
Makes me wonder if there's a ley line there, because there's ley lines all around the Earth where, like, I guess the Earth kind of emits certain energies, and then these lines cross. So it makes me wonder, maybe, you know, there is a ley line in the Grand Canyon or around that region.
Cathedral Rock. This place isn't wholly without an extraterrestrial undercurrent, however, as there are some reported local legends hinting toward an ET presence, claims of UFO encounters, and bizarre flashing lights at some of Sedona's highest points. In local areas that are otherwise apparently deserted, the rumors of an otherworldly connection persist. What's your verdict on these cases? On the claimed doorway in the canyon, spotted on Google Earth, on Hank Craftsman's recollections of an entire other dimension accessed through a secret canyon location, and on the stories that swirl around nearby Dulce and Sedona, linking them to a fabled alien truth. Have you ever visited the Grand Canyon, and did you encounter anything unusual?
Unfortunately, I have not personally visited the Grand Canyon, which I probably should, considering I've been to Yosemite, I've been to Tahoe, I've been to Oregon. I've been to a lot of like northern, you know, like monuments or landmarks, you know, to the north of me, I've been to more of them, and they're further away than probably the Grand Canyon is to me. The Grand Canyon's pretty close to where I'm at. It's probably maybe a 3 hour drive, 3.5 hour drive or something. And that's the thing is, like I said, I've been to Tahoe, which is like 8 hours from me. You know, I've been to the state of Oregon, you know, which is, you know, Oregon's probably a 12, 13 hour drive. I've been there. So it's probably something that I do need to go and check out is the Grand Canyon for sure.
While you were there, in your opinion, would the canyon make for a good base if an alien group were to be hiding out there? Importantly, there are at present no confirmed links between the Grand Canyon and alien life, and there are other more mainstream explanations for most of the claims made. A seeming doorway spotted on satellite maps could really be anything else as well. And the understandable criticism sometimes leveled at the likes of Dulce and Sedona is that local tourist boards are all too often all too willing to drum up an alien legend, regardless of a lack of actual evidence, because it will always bring visitors in. That said, there is a notable degree of genuine mystery running through the Grand Canyon. In the case of Hank Crastman, the debate is really whether or not we should take one person at their word. But more broadly, the scale of this incredible place can be difficult to comprehend. According to the U.S. government itself, of the thousands plus major cave sites across the canyon, less than a third of them have been properly explored. Officially, many have never even been accessed.
Well, it's a crazy concept. So, like, they're saying just like 1/3 of all the cave structures in the Grand Canyon have been, you know, excavated or observed. So that's a pretty crazy concept. I mean, you know, that could lead you to believe not just that is especially think of all the Native American art or you know ruins that you may find, you know, artifacts and stuff like that, so on and so forth, that you could probably find in those other caves. But I've heard and I've seen it in the videos, and it's in a video that I've done, that the government has suppressed. They've barred up these caves. They don't want people inside them. So you know, like I said, the video I did is it literally, check it out. It's ancient Egyptian and ancient Asian artifacts were supposedly found in a cave in the Grand Canyon. So, like I said, if you haven't seen that video, go ahead and check it out. It's in my content. But you know, it's a crazy concept that only 1/3 of these subterranean structures have actually been observed, or you know, or excavated, or you know, been, like have actually been through, or you know, like I said, excavated.
It may well be one of the most visited places in America, and it's also one of the most studied. But the Grand Canyon is still one of the least understood. So much of the landscape is completely out of bounds as well, with restrictions put in place for all manner of reasons, including supposed safety and for preservation. There are certain no-fly zones to consider too, put in place officially to best retain the incredible sense of nature. In the early 20th century, it was President Theodore Roosevelt who signed into legislation that the canyon should be strictly protected. On the one hand, this was a fantastic move, as it ensures that it can never be ruined by human interference. But on the other hand, it means that so much of it lies beyond our influence. And so, in the gaps and shadows that appear there, the calls of alien and cover-up have sometimes caught on in a big way. And that's why it's at least rumored that there could be an alien portal in the Grand Canyon.
What do you...
Yeah, it's kind of weird when the government kind of regulates excavation or observation of certain things. It's always going to spark controversy. That will always spark controversy because it's going to make people say, well, what are they hiding? You know what I'm saying? And, you know, in their terms, it's like, oh, it's preservation. But at the same time, like I said, I've seen videos and where there's military helicopters and jets flying over and like protecting certain areas. And it's kind of like, well, why is the military involved here? Like, what are they doing here? Like, really? This goes so far to where it's not like national forest rangers, you know, protecting stuff. The military is there. So at that point, you have to ask that question, like, why is the military involved in it? That's when it gets weird. And that's when the conspiracy theories are going to come out, because they're going to say, why is the military here, dude? That's so weird. But on that note, thank you for joining me. This has been interesting questions right here. To my left, to your right. And we got the peace sign over here. Peace and love to you guys. Hey, thanks for joining me. And this is the end of the video. Peace.